This is a classic getting the band together.
Oh,
Yes.
I love a good band getting together episode.
I was irritated because my wallpaper is cut off at the top, but actually it works. I think the giant should have his head cut off.
Yes.
I mean, not literally, but
I think it's very generous to call him a giant.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
can burn some witches.
Everyone
Sure.
needs to. Everyone needs to take the Valium and get ready for Hog the Slayer Cut 2.
Here we are again with Hawk the Slayer, a movie that is genuinely good.
This
We
is
like
how
talking about this
everyone
movie.
speaks in this movie. No one is in a hurry to get anywhere.
You there, unhand him.
Don't burn her. It's great. I can't wait. So here we go. Cue the music.
Here we are.
What's up, you broads and bastards? It sounds much more meaner when I say it.
I thought you said pube broads and bastards.
What's up, pube broads and pube bastards? Welcome to another episode of Swordboys Cut by Cut. I am Jonathan, and with me, as always, is the giant.
Me? Am I the giant?
No, not the way you just answered it. You're definitely the halfling.
Oh wait, yeah.
I'll fill the position of giant today. I'm Rick.
Yeah. And I'm Robin.
Oh, he's a little guy. Look at him.
Look how short I am.
Yeah, this cut is our slowly getting the gang. We'll slowly start getting the gang together. Wait, did we do that in this cut or we do it in the next cut?
Yeah, that is next cut.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
cut
do it
two.
over again.
Let me say something else. In this cut, we meet a witch.
Yep.
Does she have a hot bod? Don't know.
This is
I
cut
don't even
2.
know
It
what she looks
begins
like.
at 14 minutes 55 seconds and it ends at 30 minutes 35 seconds. Begins with Hawk riding through the forest with his funky ass theme playing, and it ends with Hawk leading Ranulph through the forest of Weir.
The forest of Weir. Yeah, we'll go get through there.
Bob Weir?
I don't know. Is that a musical reference?
Yes, it's from the Grateful Dead.
Don't know
It
it.
is. Okay.
Yeah. So this is our beginning of our Hawks theme song proper plays at this point, Robin. So as a first time viewer of this movie, what did you think of this horrible song? It's horrible and great at the same time.
It's funny. We, pull out the curtain. We all have like a kind of a group chat going, and there was a discussion this morning of the very disco-fied Friday the 13th Part 3 theme, which is it's just like, I'm here. This is tonally clashing, yet it seems to work. Just like, I'm here to party and also murder a bunch of campers, and in this movie is I'm here to party and trudge slowly through the woods. Like this first part, like it gets a little better, but we're starting with like an eerie ghost ride, eerie ghosty horse ride rather. It is because it's all so misty and he's just slowly moving through the forest, and yet around him it's just like bow, 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 bow.
Yeah, because he's not when he's right. Because the beginning of this scene is him plodding through Mirkwood, whatever the hell you want to call this, just the bogs of England, and in the music is very peppy. It's like
It's how
but he's
music
riding, he's walking the horse.
It's like, like there's so many times like music is accused of like, okay, so don't tell me how to feel, but this is literally music like, you're having fun, you're having a lot of fun.
Oh my God. I wanted ABBA to start like coming into this music and start singing one of their songs because it just felt so much like their instrumentation.
Their hit Swamp Queen.
Exactly. I, for kicks, went back and I listened to like Michael Kamen's Highlander theme and then Leo Holbridge's Beastmaster theme. I wanted to get like some compare and contrast between those pieces and this piece. And here's my assessment. Like Michael Kamen's piece, it was sweeping and mighty, much like the Highlands of Scotland that inspired it. Holbridge's was bold and heroic. It was very much like, oh, here's Mark Singer oiled up and ready for battle. This is the theme that it goes with. Harry Robertson's Hawk theme, it slaps.
It
to
does.
use the vernacular of today's youth. This is like, especially once that bass guitar comes in. Oh my God, this song, this music, and like honestly, the score of this movie is just pure late 70s, early 80s funk.
I went and I was listening to the score of this movie because I was like, I don't remember there being a score. I thought there was just this song and they just keep playing it. It's not. There are other themes. It's just they always have the they always have a piccolo, like a jazz piccolo. Is that a thing playing along with it? So it all kind of has that same sound, but it is different. They are different songs. Like there's like Hawk's theme, Voltan's theme, and then the names of the tracks are basically the names, like what happens in the scene. Like stealing the nun from the abbey, they're all very. I have to go look them up now.
I think that's like a very unique musical profession you can really get into and score at. Like, literally, I guess. Jazz what is is he a piccolist, a piccololist,
a piccololian,
a pickist? I don't know, but like I'd love to be like welcome to the stage like Ron Burgundy or Duke Silver and be like, oh, Robin's here with his piccolo. Get him up, we got a jam.
Please, Robin, wow us with your jazz piccolo.
Right. There are
hit that funky beat.
There are 11 songs, and the songs are Hawk the Slayer, Elaine, or
it's an Eliane.
Sure. Death of a Hero. We'll come to that later. The Final Combat. The Mindsword has its own song. Voltan, the Dark One. Great name. Well, there's a song called Drogo, Son of Voltan. Which you'll see. I think we met him. No, we haven't met him yet. We'll meet him in this clip.
We met him at the ad.
Wait, did we meet him at the? Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
He's so forgettable.
Is it a try hard
is
musical theme? Like it's just like I'm here talking tough, but we all know who the actual tough person here is.
The story continues. The crow, the elf, which is funny that he gets a song and no one else does. And the Battle of Voltan's Camp and the Table of Five. Those are the names of the songs. And they're all between one. Hawk the Slayer is inexplicably 4 minutes long. It's a 4 minute long song of this. Here, I'll play it. I'm playing it underneath of me talking right now. And it's a good song. It's just long. And I think the word is there's no crescendo. I don't know where the part that's supposed to be, like, there's a lot of, like, it is very epic, but it continues to be epic the whole time. Whereas when you listen to Beastmaster, there are parts where it goes high and then come low and then kind of lulls you and then brings you back in, like, and now it's Beastmaster. It's like kind of I don't know what that's called in music. Robin, what's that called in music? Not the
Casio-nic. Yeah. Made with Casio.
Oh, I was wondering. I wonder if some of this is an actual piccolo or if it is a Casio. You think this is electronic?
Given the era, I would say most of it's electronic.
All right. Well, I'm glad we're here now because we can talk about something I really wanted to talk about, and that is Hawk's horse. It's not Clompy because we know Voltan is riding Clompy. I just wanted.
I was getting confused
because of where this horse is at all times in this movie. This horse is named Swampy. Swampy knows Clompy, and I just wanted that out there that there is a horse named Swampy. And my name's Swampy. I'm a Hawk's horse, and I'm not real. I don't. I'm just kind of. He's on the same Valium that Hawk is on. I think Hawk gets a contact high from Swampy.
Right. The horse pills are so large that just handling them.
I'm just ketamine. I think I'm on that. That's one. I don't know what else.
They shot me up with something.
Hawk's feeding him the giant horse pills, and he's got all the residue on his hands, so he just kind of like rubs them together and like.
that big green rock on his sword? That's just a horse pill. That's just a giant horse pill. We lick it. We take turns. We just We lick it.
Hawking his horse in the middle of the woods, just getting high as shit.
Kind of slovenly as well. I mean, this is the same horse that reappeared in Seinfeld, and Kramer fed him beef ravioli.
Mhm.
It's probably 'cause he had
Beefarino.
the munchies. It's beefarino. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, very
Yep.
gassy. I mean, the mist of the forest is actually created by Swampy. It's a behind the scenes trivia.
I would like to talk about the swamp of the forest in this scene. I feel like someone off screen was like, Nigel, there's too much. No, it's too much. I can't see a thing. No, it's awful. Because this entire scene that we're about to get to is almost incomprehensible and unidentifiable because there is so much smoke. It's great.
Is it dry ice or is it like a fog, a smoke machine? Like
dry ice. I don't think
No, all the dry ice is in the bottom of the bog to create the bubbles.
Yes.
You know.
I do like the I mean, if you notice the snake actor, holding on for dear life.
That scene was cut right before he falls off that damn branch.
He's like, please, somebody get me off this branch.
Hey, I'm a boa constrictor. I'm not supposed to be in the swamp in England. This is really not my habitat.
Yeah.
So I think Rick will enjoy this movie the most because basically it's D&D cutscenes.
Absolutely.
The movie has no connective tissue. It's just Hawk shows up, stands with his hands clasped in front of him, and tells people not to do the thing they're about to do.
You're there.
Yeah, it's
sorry, you there.
Yeah, you there. This entire movie is, until we get to the fight scenes later, is just him standing in smoke. And then a scene is playing out. It's always a scene playing out like you see in the distance. Like, all right, everybody, get ready for the, time for the witch scene and action.
Yeah.
And they're doing their own little play that Hawk is watching.
Yeah. You want your audience to sympathize with the character. And so what they did with this movie is they just made Hawk like a viewer. So you as an audience member are like Hawk, who is also an audience member to what's happening in these scenes.
So we have
I
the POH.
will watch this movie like a hawk. You're right.
We have the POH, the point of Hawk. That's how we're viewing this movie.
Hawk the viewer.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a t-shirt here. Let me write it down. Hold on, Hawk the viewer. Hawk the viewer.
And of course, the first scene that he comes across is the
first scene we come across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a play on that Monty Python sketch with, we found a bitch.
What?
Whoa.
Hey.
We found a witch. May we burn her.
Not
we
may
got a
we.
bitch. May we warn her.
They're going to burn this lady. She is piled high. They've got sticks all around her. As burning witches go, it's a pretty effective pyre they've created.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, there are so many things. I mean, we're going to talk about it. There's so many things that Hawk stumbles across while going through these misty woods. And our first scene here is a witch burning, and like, this is sketchy immediately. Like, aren't most witch burnings done in public? Like, hey, we're burning the witch. We're praising our Lord, whoever.
Like they would take her to the nearest town to do it. Usually,
yeah. This is like a thing everybody gathers around. They have like a turkey leg. It's great. You smell that witch burning, and you hear the screaming. It's just you bring the kids.
You can't have a private witch party.
This is not a traditional witch burning, because it's literally just one guy who's pissed off at one lady, and he's like, I'm going to drag your ass out into the middle of the woods and I'm going to burn you alive. This is just a straight up murder.
It's Twitter.
Like, yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, you're a woman and you're existing in my vicinity. You need to die.
You killed my pig.
Right.
Your pig was going to die if I didn't help it. You didn't let me help it. It died. Well, that's because you didn't let me help it. I'm going to burn you. Can we? As this scene goes on, we get a lot of ooey ooey oohs. But have you noticed the dampness of both Hawk and the main protagonist, the guy not on the horse? Have you noticed the wetness of their hair? It makes me laugh. They're so
Is
wet.
it the dry ice? Is it? I don't know.
I think definitely that
very humid
vapor style stage smoke where they put the liquid in the box and then it sprays out. I don't know how smoke machines work.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much humidity in this scene. It's just clinging to them.
He's schwitzing. Basically, Hawk the Schwitzer.
We don't see him, but there's a third guy with the hog farmer, and he's just standing next to some rocks, and he's pouring water on them, just creating that real Sada environment.
Yeah, in the last thing we did, we talked about Watt the Miller's son, and now we're talking about whoever this guy is.
You mean wait? What you mean? What?
Much. What?
Much
Whatever.
Oh, much.
What?
Yeah.
What? This guy's name is what?
What is his
pig's
brothers? Yeah. I didn't actually name the hog farmer. A lot of these times when we're going through these themes, if they're not introducing themselves specifically, I'm just kind of describing them what they are. So
and they are
the hog farmer and his horse friend, and his horse friend leaves immediately.
There's a stare down.
Does
Robin
one thing.
Yeah, Robin, what did you think of this stare down? Did you think what I thought? This is going on way too long.
Actually, what I thought was that this brought, speaking of the theme, into full focus. Like, this is why the theme is what it is. This is the good, the bad, the ugly. Is like, it's this.
Oh yeah,
they're ripping off that score, and now they're ripping off like, oh yeah, this stare down. Like, watch out, these guys are who's gonna draw first, who's gonna break first, So it really made me think. Sorry, are movie references allowed on? And like, I know music references. But you know what I'm talking about. Oh God, it is a music reference. Shoot, I'm really screwing up today, Jonathan.
It's okay. It's a music reference from a movie, so I'm okay with it.
A movie is the important part.
Yes. So he fights this dude. Well, first of all, the guy says, "Use your sword, pig." I'm like, you're really obsessed with pigs.
It's like his whole personality.
What, the pig farmer?
Yeah, especially when he's obsessed with her foul arts. I'm sorry, foul arts are practiced on chickens. You would have to do the boar arts for pigs.
Yes.
Carry on.
Thank you. We don't really see the witch. I'm right now calling her a whisper witch because everything she says is so quiet. She has a tiny voice. It's the tiniest. I'm so weak. So the whisper witch right now. I can't wait to see her rockin' bod. Which I now know is that's how witches show themselves as they're powerful. They writhe around a cauldron and show me their hot, hard bodies, right?
Of course, you throw a little pony behind them. It makes a great video.
Wow.
But this is actually a very sexy woman, a woman that I've been attracted to my entire life because she's from Rocky Horror Picture Show. This is Magenta, Patricia Quinn, Magenta. And I'm just like, when do we get to see her? This is like the most famous actress in this, besides actor, sorry, besides Jack Palance.
How dare you say that I am not the most famous actor in this movie?
She is like, that actress was those famous lips from Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's Patricia Quinn. That's her lips. Why are we not seeing those lips?
Well, we do later. We see her when she's around the fire in the next cut. In this cut, inexplicably, they do not show her face. It makes me think she wasn't there. I really, I'm not kidding. I think she wasn't.
A little
in
bit of
these
ADR.
Scenes. I don't think she was here yet.
Is Patricia here on set yet?
No, she's not.
Oh, let's just shoot around her. Just put someone in the costume. I don't care. Just robe. It doesn't matter.
But
crank up the fog. Nigel. Yes. Crank up the phone. Okay, I'm turning it up to 11.
Oh my
God. Has anybody seen my snake? I think I left it somewhere.
I left my snake somewhere. Do you think he got in the movie?
Help! I'm on the bridge.
Is that the snake?
It's a very talented snake. There's a reason why it got in the movie.
Yep. Yeah. It's so funny that it's credited before Patricia, but behind Jack Palance. So crazy.
But yeah. Again, back to the mist, and the fact we can't see anything. They actually set up a pretty cool shot during the beginnings of this confrontation. The behind Hawk's shoulder shot. You see the mind sword. You see the back of Hawk, and you see over his shoulder some figures in the mist talking to him. Who knows? So it's a nice framing of the bad guys from POH. But we can't see them. so much miss. Sorry.
Well, because they also, the camera is having to focus on the sword, so the light is all going to be effed up. Like for the scene, they can't light both. Yeah. I just watched recently, as good sword boy does. I was talking about, speaking of a Valium-filled documentary. I watched a Valium-filled documentary on Excalibur, and that movie is slow, and the behind the scenes just as slow. But one of the scenes they talked about, it's that wedding scene. Do you remember it? Do you guys remember that scene from that movie?
Nah.
It's immaculate. We'll talk about it at some point because we'll talk about Excalibur. It's
by John Boorman.
Yeah, Boorman. It's amazing because it was natural light. Like they literally waited all day. Natural light flew through the trees, like in these kind of forests, and hit everybody perfectly. And they shot as fast as they could. There's some scenes in it that are like a little bit later, and so the light changed because these scenes, it's amazing. And this is not that. Just to remind you, this is what. Unfortunately, this movie was shot, I think, kind of like most British TV show movies were at the time. It's just not. They've gotten much better, but I think there's just not a sophistication that we were starting to have in 80s movies. I'm not saying like Weird Science and some of these movies were sophisticated, but when you watch T1 versus T2, the sophistication ramps up.
Right.
We're probably we're 8 years away from T2 at this point. Is that in 88? When was Terminator 2?
T2 is like 91, I believe.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. We're like 10 years away. But there's a sophistication, I think, that we're with lighting that we're just not getting in this movie. This movie is very dark. And very very set. It looks like a set. Everything looks like a set. I mean, even this poor Whispering Witch, when he does finally kill the pig farmer, he cuts her bonds. She falls over. Then he cuts her other bond and then hits her in the head with the sword. If you watch that scene real quick, he does hit her in the head with the sword and then holds her head.
Yeah,
that's why I call it a mind sword. I like to brain people with it.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of him defeating the pig farmer, there is a clashing of blades, which kind of qualifies as a sword fight, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's a sword fight breakdown.
We're like, it's a sword fight breakdown. Because the hog farmer thrusts with his blade. Hawk deftly steps to the side, parries that blade, and then somehow, because it is a mystical elfin mind sword, that blade is magically up against Hog Farmer's throat, and the fight is over.
Mm-hmm. And we get our first real look at the mind sword. It's the edge of the mind sword. We'll see it in the next cut too. This sword has no edge. It is an unsharpened piece of metal.
Yeah, I'm also bothered by the fact that the handle and the blade are not perfectly in line with each other when you're holding the sword flat. From the crossguard, the sword kind of dips down a little bit.
Oh no.
It's not perfectly straight, which probably proves a little tricky when it comes to edge alignment during fights.
Well, as I've learned, a lot of people's swords lean one way or the other, and it's perfectly normal. It's not aesthetically pleasing, but that's why they're not doing sword porn.
Right.
Yeah, because it's bent.
Got to say, when you said this sword has no edge, it really reminded me of Peter Venkman saying, Walter Peck, this man has no dick.
Listen,
because it just...
Is this true?
Yes. From it.
This sword has no edge.
I don't know how the hog farmer is killed when, Hawk turns his back and the hog farmer goes to slash him again. And he does that little low swing into cutting into the guy's midsection. And then he drags the sword out, and it should not do any more damage than when he dragged the blade against the guy's bare neck, leaving no mark.
Yep.
And then suddenly going across his midsection is enough to kill him. It's like, that's
also, this movie doesn't have the kind of blood that I want. I want the mind sword to like cut through you. So there's just two parts of the pig farmer laying there.
Just go full bisection.
Lightsaber. Give it the magic of lightsabering.
I want it like the machete fight in Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, where there's just like a pair of legs and then like a torso sitting on the ground next to it, with the torso being like, you cut my legs off. Wrong son died.
So he
basically,
he saves her.
please.
Go on.
I was just saying, you're saying this sword is as dull as its wielder.
Yes, exactly.
It really is.
Listen, the mind sword is not the sharpest sword in the armory, and that's not a euphemism. It's literal.
He gives her back
the mind.
Hawk gives her back her magic staff, and she's like, "Come to my cave." By the way, never follow a witch to the second location.
Yeah, I know you feel bad because you bonked her in the head with your mind sword, but
her. I'm saying her with quotes. That's a dude just in a robe because we don't see it. We still don't see their face yet. It's not Patricia. There's no way it's Patricia. And
but when a witch tells you to hand you her staff, you go, oh, "What are you implying?
Okay,
is it yours now, or is it? Maybe it'll be yours later."
And she's like, "What is your name?" He's like, "Hawk." And of course this movie's like, "Oh, I've heard your name before."
Everybody knows Hawk.
Everybody knows
so
Hawk.
famous. Is there a Mrs. Hawk?
There was too soon.
I love to know what Hawk's like when he's not questing. Like, what is he doing? Is he just riding around these woods, running into randos over and over again?
Travel takes a long time.
It really
Sometimes.
doesn't.
So when he's moving from place to place, he can have an adventure over here, and then it takes him like several weeks or days. Ranulph's been looking for him for days.
Mhm.
So, especially when he's not moving with any sort of urgency like he was doing at the beginning of the movie. I do appreciate that he has a little bit of urgency after the witch tells him to go south.
That's because it smells terrible in that cave. He's just trying to get out. And I'm gonna change her name. I did call her a whisper witch when the movie started, but I think she turns into the plot witch. And I think that's her. I think for the movie, she's the plot witch. She is only here to make this movie go peppy.
Yeah.
She is here to be like, "Oh, by the way, you got to go south to go find a one-armed man," which we would never have done if I hadn't told you. So in the movie's lazy, so it's not going to tell you. So I'm just going to tell you.
I am well trained in Hexposition.
All right, Hexposition. That's a pretty good name for a title.
She's billed as woman, sorceress.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
And then
She's not sorceress from Masters of the Universe by any means.
I was really happy when he does ride off on Swampy to go meet the one-handed man. We get to see yet another of this guy's, I guess, menagerie of reptiles. This guy's
Well, what do you have? I got a snake and I got like a bearded dragon. That's what I got.
okay. Throw him on there. So we see
Hello, do you have any? I'm here to audition for the insurance commercials. You got any other work for me? Well,
and the rest of this cut is sponsored by Spirit Halloween.
Yep.
Because this entire rest of this it's spooky bodies.
Yep. You got yard skeletons.
You get they're on the trees. There's hanging cobwebs from things,
skull piles,
lots of skulls.
Like, listen, this land is littered with dead.
So he's riding Swampy like a maniac, and he rides Swampy.
This works better.
Yes, with the music, it works.
This is the sort of pace that we needed at the beginning of the cut. Especially because, like, as people will remember, we ended cut 1 with the High Abbot being like, "His name is Hawk," and then we cut to Hawk, and he's just kind of like trotting through the woods.
Hey,
like, no, we needed him galloping.
How's it going? How you doing?
Like, hey, I'm Hawk. I slay.
I slay, Queen.
It could, maybe that's just his non-quest energy. Like, if he's questing, then we hit the theme and the slow motion fast riding. Like,
so he's like Tom Cruise when he's not making a movie. He's just like a blank slate, nothing much going on. But when Tom Cruise is making a movie, he is Tom Cruise, 1,000%. I got you.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know, also something that wasn't in the notes. You see when Ranulph in this next scene is riding his horse. Ranulph's horse is named Stumpy.
Oh,
so we got Swampy,
missing
Stumpy,
a limb as well?
Clumpy.
I want to talk about Ranulph's stump real quick.
Okay.
Because when you look at him holding his crossbow, Like, if he is supposed to not have a hand, then like he's got some sort of weird second wrist in the middle of his forearm because that arm is going up and around the crossbow.
Yeah.
So
no one
I
knew
feel
that
like,
Ranulph had a really long arm. So when he cut off his hand, it actually was okay.
like I'm gonna just personally believe that the nuns only cut off his fingers and left most of the hand. And that little leather cuff thing is where his mangled and ugly looking hand is. So that way he can still have the use of his wrist.
So that's where they got his name for. They go, the fingers are Ranulph.
Exactly.
And we're going to leave the rest. Ranulph's on Ranulph. Gotcha. That's a Robin joke.
Yeah, he does a lot of palm strikes.
He does.
In battle.
A guy can open up a piece of garlic like nobody's business, just over there palm striking it.
Yeah. And so then we run into a couple of guys who just want to know which direction Burnby is.
Yeah.
Turns out they're highwaymen because, of course. Have you seen the bones in this countryside? Nobody is friendly.
Yeah, there's so much evil in this forest.
Is that our first view of Ranulph's cool ass arrows, like what they look like?
Well,
Like the little red arrows.
It's the first time he's been able to effectively use it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Here's the question. The highwaymen, after he kills their friend, they're mad at him and they tie him up to a tree. How do you tie a guy with no hand to a tree? Won't he just like whoop? Like just keep slipping out his hand like, ha. No problem. See, like you can't, because normally you put it on the wrist. That's the only part that'll actually stop.
That's why they need to have just the fingers cut off so that he still has a wrist to tie.
I got you.
Yeah. What I don't understand is how these little throwing hatchets work, because they don't pick them up and throw them overhand. They throw them off the belt by some sort of quick draw.
It seems so dangerous.
Yeah.
These two are might be my favorite rogues of the rogues we've seen so far. I know there's a rogue later that's famous and he'll be great, and I can't wait to get to him. But this rogue, these two are my favorite so far because they're just kind of like, I'm bored with the way that we kill people, and I'd like to kill people in a different way. Okay, what do you want to do? How about we throw our hatchets underhanded at him, and the closest one wins? Okay.
Yeah, and they're just so nonchalant about it.
Mm-hmm.
They're just hanging out in the woods. Their friend is dead. Oh well, not going to care about that.
Didn't even go loot him.
Yeah.
There's a strange mystery around the who's billed as Axeman #1.
Oh yeah.
Axeman #1 is played by Maurice Colburn, who I found out on IMDb. His real name is Roger Middleton.
Okay.
Okay, so he changed his name from Roger Middleton to Maurice Colburn. So I don't know if he wanted to sound more French or what, but I discovered that he changed his name when he read the obituary of an actor named Maurice Colburn that was born on the same day as him. So I ask you, is Axeman #1 a Highlander? Because that is some Russell Nash shit if I have ever heard.
That is absolutely some Russell Nash shit. Oh man. Did we not know it this whole time and it was under our noses?
That's just weird. That's really weird.
And again, your name is Roger Middleton. You're like, I don't know, Maurice sounds better.
What? Weird.
We should do a poll. What would you rather be, Roger or Maurice?
I mean,
I'd rather be Roger because that's like a dick name.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Or I'm going to give her a good Rogering. Yeah.
So this is the greatest fight scene so far in this movie. If it continues to ramp up the way it's about to, Hawk, of course, is standing there with his hands crossed and says, hey, don't stop throwing swords at, hey, stop throwing axes at this guy. And they're like, look what we go here. Let's go Roger him, Maurice.
Yeah, one of the axemen knows which headstone to look for. The other knows the other detail from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And then there's Hawk. And, they're the three of them are going to have a stare down.
They have yet another long ass stare down. But then the greatest thing happens. Hawk throws a broadsword straight into a man.
Yep.
And then
catches
the hatchet and throws it back and hits the guy.
That was probably like the best thing I've ever seen because it was totally like Big Trouble in Little China energy
Yeah.
And yet somehow
Okay.
it showed up here.
Like, I think Robin's about to ask,
Like,
does
how?
he throw the mind sword, or is it like, does it go?
Oh no,
Yeah.
he throws the mind sword overhand, and then it flies straight from his hand. And then Hawk, the hatchet flies at him. He grabs it out of the air and then just flings it straight back,
Amazing.
square into the guy's midsection.
Amazing.
And they
Also,
both fall down at the same time. That's the best part.
Yeah. The sword, I mean, there's a scabbard on his back. It doesn't act as if he's pulling it out of a scabbard and throwing it.
It would take so long to pull a sword out of the scabbard like that.
Yeah. Like, do you realize how long your arm has to be and
Yeah.
how short the blade needs to be for you to be able to pull it off your back at a moment's notice?
Maybe he's got a really long arm like Ranulph.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he frees
Does-
Ranulph. Ranulph's like,
the
oh,
mind
that was
sword-
crazy.
Does Mindsword have a mind of its own? Like,
Yes.
is he just like, I got this?
I wish Ranulph had been like, why is it called a mind stone? It's got a hand on it. Why is it not called the hand stone? Because that's what it is. It's a stone in the hand. But I guess it works with your mind. Okay.
You know, it's a stone in the hand is worth two in the
Bush.
two in the sword.
Two in the Roger. So he does his mind power to get the sword back to him, and it sucks because they don't make the gushing noises that it would make coming out of Roger, which would be so much better. Like the sword slowly like lifting out of the body.
Slorp.
And this movie is so good because everything is just someone off screen throwing the sword to him. And that's how the sword always comes back to him. It's like, yep. It's just like a little whoop, which is pretty great. It's never like, only a few times do they reverse it, you know, like it's in his hand with a wire and then it flies out. Most of the time it's someone just off screen flinging him back his sword. He's like, yep, thanks. Pretty great.
Also, it's in film, there's so little reaction to any sort of magic that happens through this movie.
Yeah.
So he levitated a sword to his mind with his mind, and Ranulph's just like, okay, normal day.
Normal day. What's your name? Hawk? Oh, I've got a
I
coin for you.
really like his reaction because he's looking at it. He's like, what kind of nonsense have I gotten myself into? I'm here as a professional actor taking this seriously, and you guys are throwing swords around set. I feel like the phrase, what manner of man are you, could also be like, what manner of film is this?
And just so you know, in case anyone that's not watching this movie with subtitles, the sound that the sword makes is called mystical noise.
Any
Which-
sort of magic
which
is
is a-
always mystical noise.
Which is a great name for a band.
Mhm.
If you're ever looking for a name, Mystical Noise is a great name.
Yeah.
Ranulph gives him the coin from the fortress from the guy. I don't know
I'm not
what.
a Flappenstein.
What did the coin? Yeah, what did the coin have to do with?
I-
Can we talk about the coin? Doesn't really mean anything, right?
It lets Hawk know that this guy is coming with a good recommendation.
Oh, okay. So it's a
You know,
recommendation thing.
Hawk is he's a gig player.
Gotcha.
You know, he can choose his contracts
Mhm.
willingly, and if it comes with a good recommendation, he'll know that he can work with this guy.
Hawk the Task Rabbit. Got it.
Yeah, exactly.
And in this woods full of so many people robbing you at every turn, there's no suspicion that perhaps he got this coin off a dead person or took it from an abbey, perhaps, or nothing, no suspciation. Maybe
Nope.
Hawk just like,
Hawk is
I mean,
pure.
yeah. He's very righteous. He believes in right and wrong. He tries like that last group. He tried letting the guy just like, go, just get out of here.
He
And
always
wouldn't go.
allows them. He's always like, if, it's that one of the good things that was in that horrible first and second season of Picard. Remember the Romulan that had the Romulan Vulcan that had like a sword that like he's like choose to live. Basically,
the
he's
Wookiee
telling
like
them,
that, yeah.
yeah, choose to live.
Oh darn! I missed him in the third season.
No, yeah, me too.
Yeah. So next up we go to a shack next to a petting zoo.
Shaq's in this? Oh, sorry.
Hey, everybody. I'm the giant, of course.
No, he plays Kazam in this, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the innkeeper here, played
Oh,
by
yeah.
Roy Kinnear, who
Love that
we
dude.
all know, of course, as Mr. Salt, Veruca's dad from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Like, as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh my God, I know that guy. And yes, of course, it's just yet another sniveling character. Yes,
And also-
darling.
This entire scene, I think that Jack Palance was having a day because he's like, "Don't show me from my left side at all," because his entire thing is just his right side. He's right side acting the whole time, and then Voltan's son is mad that these people are eating in the presence of Voltan. Very Prince Joffrey level.
You're like, you guys should be standing when my dad is here.
I know, and honestly, my only note here is just like these guys are just trying to eat, while Voltan's men are just like, we're all tough, respect us. And then we find out they're slavers, and I was like, oh fuck these guys.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Kill them all.
They,
I don't
they
care.
work for Sped, the hunchback slaver.
Yeah, we'll meet Sped later. Sped's a great character.
Yeah, he's a cut 4 character.
You
And
better
in
be
this,
fast.
Jack Palance chokes, either Vulcan neck pinches this guy to death, or he's just asleep. I don't know. Where did we go with this?
Oh, this is
is such a
100% a Vulcan death, a Vulcan neck pinch, because we meet a Vulcan later on.
Oh yeah.
Once we get to cut 3.
And in this scene, we the one guy's choked out by Voltan, and then the other guy talks back so many times that Voltan pokes him with his sword, bending the sword.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
He bends the sword and then says, "Have his.
Oh.
I want his tongue cut out."
I felt, you're going Star Trek. I was going Star Wars. Like, I was obviously thinking, as we always see Voltan here, he's just like a Darth Vader kind of character.
Yeah.
And the choking, but also like this line he drops is so Darth Vader, which is, "Your friend has lost his appetite, it seems." That's such a Darth Vader line.
Be careful not to choke on your aspirations.
Yes, exactly.
And because we don't have another scene, I'm going to go back to Roy and say the same thing I just said, which was, "Don't forget, let me know if you see Hawk the Slayer."
Yeah.
Voltan says, remember this and remember it well. Voltan owns everything. The table, the chairs, the very food you eat. I own everything, including your useless lives. And I'm like, are you just going around saying that? Because like we're very unclear as far as like the real political power that he holds in this area. Like, is he just literally running around saying these things? And like everyone's like, well, I didn't vote for you.
Right. Not my Voltan. Yeah, I don't know.
I
voted for the
pig farmer.
Hawk the Slayer, his name gets around. He's very famous. Voltan is literally murdering entire villages, and these guys can't get up for him at all. Like, oh,
Like they're not even
Jesus,
scared of
Voltan. Like,
we're part of a
murdered here.
union. We work for the Hunchback. You have no power over us. Why don't you pay us a living wage?
I'm excited to meet Sped, because I'm like, are you saying that this hunchback is scarier than Voltan?
He commands more respect than the dude known as the Dark One. The agent of the devil does not command the same respect as the hunchback slaver.
I mean, he creates great and valuable inventory for Spirit Halloween, but he's no hunchback.
What is his name? Drogo? Yeah, Drogo. His son Drogo has a very Mordred-esque. There's a lot. Let's just say these guys were definitely influenced by the movie Excalibur.
Oh, absolutely.
So there's a very Mordred-esqueness to it.
It does make me wonder, like, the existence of Drogo says that Voltan, like Drogo has a mother.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
Is there a Mrs. Voltan?
There's a whole, like, we haven't gotten to the real backstory yet, but like part of the impetus for all of this rivalry between Voltan and Hawk is revolving around Eliane, Hawk's wife,
Elaine.
who like
Elaine, come on.
who, like, I guess she was friends with Voltan
This
at
was
some
supposed to
point,
be
and
the
then-
summer of Voltan. I'm
Right,
sorry.
like-
sorry, Rick. Sorry.
So he like rebounded from her really hard.
Everything's coming up, Voltan.
Like either that or he had a son beforehand, because like I don't know, the ages, like no one ages between the flashbacks and the current day as
My
we're watching
son
it.
is
So
the
it's like,
same age as my brother.
I really don't know
That's
what's
true.
going on.
I was just thinking that they're definitely the same age, or at least around the same age.
We'll get to it in the next cut when we meet Elaine. Is
The
that in this?
seed is pure and it's dark, and I produced when I was 3.
Okay, I want to be a. You remember History Sticklers?
I remember him.
Excalibur
Yes.
came out in 1981.
Yeah, I was about to say, did this influence that?
Excalibur was inspired by Hawk.
John Borman was like watching this. He's like, well, we can't make this.
Either that or Excalibur took like 5 years to make. So someone was just stealing information from
Well,
the Excalibur
it's
set.
all happening in the English countryside. So I'm sure they were like, I don't know who's doing the fog, but get him over on Excalibur.
Like,
Because
okay,
excellent fog man.
some PA went to the local photocopying business and some of the Excalibur pages got slipped in with some of the Hawk
Aw.
Slayer, the Slayer pages. And, Terry Marcel was like, let's run with it. It's better than I wrote.
Yeah, and it's and Jack Palance is like, I get to say lines that Patrick Stewart was going to say. Or Liam Neeson. I'm telling you, it keeps turning into Klingon. My Jack
Yeah.
Palance.
It's a bit Con-esque
It
as
is.
well. But yeah, so we're back with we're back with Hawk and Ranulph, right? So
Yep.
He's loading his crossbow. We don't actually get to see it fire off yet, right?
Not
Yeah,
until after the flashback.
No, he does the flashback. We go back to a more pastoral time when
What a classic flashback transition, I gotta say, when it's just like, have you ever crossed swords with him? A fine thing for us to do on our wedding day.
and Hawk is riding his horse, Whitey, with Elaine.
What, Whitey? Is that where we're going?
Whitey.
They're-
Whitey,
Lady Elaine. Lady Elaine.
Whitey Horser.
This is Lady Elaine before she went to the neighborhood of make believe.
Yep. And they kiss, and then out of the thicket comes Jack Palance. Ah, good Lord.
They snuck away from their wedding feast to bang in the garden, and Jack Palance is like, "Not on my watch."
Yeah,
I wore black
I
to
just
your
happened to
wedding.
be in the neighborhood.
I can't believe you friend zoned me, Elaine.
The horse, Whitey is very happy, by the way, that Jack Palance shows up, because if you notice, as they start making out and you see the horse in the background, the horse is just like, oh God, just turning away. Like, oh,
Whitey is a bit of a prude.
boring sex I've ever seen.
I guess you don't think I'm sponge worthy, Elaine.
Just
Uh,
she does a real interesting thing here. So
Does
like
she?
Voltan shows up, he's real butthurt about the whole thing, and she walks up to Voltan and she tenderly puts her hand like
Mhm.
on his neck, like to the side of his face, and it's like that's a very intimate touch
For friends.
for just friends.
That's how I touch Robin.
well, you know,
I'm like, Robin, come here. And he's like, no. And then he's like, you shall feel the tip of my sword. And then walks back into a bush. It's super weird. Interacting with Robin is really weird.
yeah, I just walk out of bushes constantly. Very and I do the Homer thing when I go back into the bush.
He also keeps saying that much younger men are his brother. It's weird.
Yeah. Also, like, he's like, you're not enjoying the festivities. Like, how could I enjoy that when this marriage should have been my marriage? And he's like really upset. And
I
she's
should
like,
be the one banging in the garden.
I feel like shouldn't this argument have come up, when the wedding was first announced?
Yeah.
Like, it feels like they're having this conversation for the first time. Like, just so you know, she was my betrothed.
There's a part in the ceremony that says if you speak now or forever hold your peace. If you don't bust into the back of the chapel yelling I object as music swells and stuff like that, you kind of lose your time. Showing up after the fact, emerging from a bush of all things, is just not it's not peak drama. And it's probably that they didn't want to pay all of the extras for a big wedding scene.
No.
Right.
That would have been too expensive.
Is this whole flashback going to end like the end of The Graduate, where like Jack Palance is like hammering on the glass, and then Jack Palance and Elaine go riding off together? No, probably
Yes.
not.
I think the most important part of this flashback is the close up on Elaine's necklace.
Mm-hmm.
The cross-shaped pendant, which it's not a traditional crucifix.
It belongs in a museum.
Like there are little arms on each of the
Little
side
arms.
things.
You know, like
And
how would
there's
you
no
explain a
face.
crucifix to someone? You know, it's got little arms. It's a stick with little arms.
It's got
Think
like
the opposite
like
of
a
Ranulph.
dressed like a it's a figure with swirls on what would be the torso. It seems to be wearing like a little dress. It's got a sunburst for a head. You know, the little arms that I mentioned before sticking out to the side. It could be a little crucifix, but it also just could be a cross-shaped some sort of sun deity,
Mhm.
because they're kind of
Like they're like
Non-committal.
druidy. Yeah, they're like kind of like
Like-
they have religion, but it's not Jeebus, so it's like
it's like
it's vague.
they all follow Jerry Christ.
But this is great. This is almost like, you know, we have John Terry from Lost, you know, and we're now seeing a Lost flashback, and it's like, oh, that's where they got the cross from. Okay, that was very important information. But
she's
I mean,
like,
Voltan,
take my necklace, it'll protect you, and then it doesn't protect her.
That's why she's not wearing it.
Voltan has a little bit of a right to have a beef, because he says that he fought alongside their father. You know, while I was doing that, you were here, you know, going after the woman I want. But
With
also, I'm like,
Hawk with his silver tongue.
yeah. Why wasn't Hawk fighting alongside their father too? What
Listen,
gives him the right to stay
He's
home?
too young.
There's
in
a-
that flashback, he's 13 years
There's
old.
a 30-year difference
Oh.
between the two of these brothers.
30.
The
It's
movie's
me,
not
I'm
telling me
18,
there
my,
is.
my brother is 48.
And then the cannot you find happiness in your heart for our marriage? And Jack Palance is reading it just like, so I have to say no twice. Okay. No. No.
So good. It's so good.
And
Yeah.
his threat of watch for me in the night. I actually like that line.
Watch for me in the night. I say that to my wife every night before I go to bed. Like a veiled
she's got-
threat.
She's got her eye on you for sure.
Like, what the hell is he gonna do? He said, watch for me in the night. It can be anything.
Oh, he just moved.
So yeah, then they come
Just
back
roll
and,
over, but keep watching.
and we finally get to see Ranulph's
yes.
cool ass.
Multiple crossbow bolt action is the subtitle for the deaf and hard of hearing. That's the subtitle. Multiple crossbow bolt action.
And
Oh,
they're
wow.
sitting there quietly. I love that they're sitting there quietly, you know, reminiscing, and Hawk's, you know, doodle giving him, you know, flashback stuff. And then he's like, you know, we really don't have a lot of time. And then the music starts up and they go riding, and it's like, he's like, oh, the horses have rested enough. The horses look, screw you, Hawk.
Yeah.
Man, I love the way that Ranulph is talking about how, like, oh, I had Voltan in my sights. I should have fired. And you actually like hear the regret in his voice, thinking about, you know, the hard consequences of not attacking Voltan. And then John Terry is like, I wonder what he's doing over there. Anyway, the black ones protect their own.
Excuse me, John
It's a
Terry.
problematic line there, Hawk.
Here's what I feel about John Terry. John Terry is not a giving actor, and I don't feel like he felt like he was in these scenes. He feels like he is placed in these scenes almost like CG, like later, like they shot all this stuff with him not there. That's how this movie feels. It's very weird. It very rarely does he smile. But also very rarely does he listen to anything that the person next to him is saying.
Yeah.
It's an odd choice for this movie. But anyway, I think it says dramatically energetic music begins. So now they're riding again. So it's swampy, stumpy, riding through the forest. There's a
Right
bunch
next
of trees
to
with a bunch of, you know, skulls on it.
Yeah, and we come to the Stonehenge that Spinal Tap wanted.
Yeah.
But they never got.
Right.
And we come to the place where the glow of the thing actually makes both horses' eyes glow green, which is obviously because the light's being shown at the scene. There's a green light that they show, and it makes that sword glow.
Yeah.
See, I thought it was said the Mindsword shall light our way, and I was like, and he's talking about a circle of light, and I'm like, I don't see a circle of light, whatever you're talking about. But lighting up the horse's eyes green, I assumed like the light is making the horses. Now the horses have better vision through all this mist.
You're giving this movie way too much credit.
Yeah.
They would not have done that. That's just, and they go into a Six Flags haunted house.
Yeah, this is the Forest of Weir. It was once a green forest full of sunlight. Now it is a spirit Halloween.
Used to be a Florsheim shoes before that.
Yeah. And the way you enter it is you ride towards it, and then suddenly there is an abrupt cut where all of the fog in the background changes.
Oh man, guys, you got to work on that.
Yeah,
there is, and even like the camera shifts a little bit.
I don't know where the camera.
Why'd they move the camera? Of all things, don't move the camera.
You know what? Yeah. It's probably the guy with all the reptiles. He bumped the camera because he was chasing after his lizard.
Oh, sorry, my snake got away.
But yeah, happy Halloween, everybody, as we go through this haunted house / forest.
These episodes are coming out near Halloween.
Yeah. What in the all I've got to say as they're riding through this forest is what in the Jim Henson's creature shop is chasing them through these woods.
That is the worst puppet I've ever seen.
They're like Fraggles, but like wet Fraggles.
Yeah.
Run one of those weird Muppets through a wash cycle and then just don't dry it.
Oh, know what they look like? They look like the baby from V, not the first baby that comes out, but the second puppet V baby that's like a lizard baby. It kind of looks like that.
And there's no articulation. Someone is grabbing the back of this puppet and just kind of like flinging it away from the camera.
Yeah. I was wondering if it's supposed to be one creature or we're just like seeing like multiple creatures.
I got a question for you. It's right at the end, the last 2 seconds of this cut, after they've ridden out of Fangor. Oh, it's the Forest of Weird. And they get out. Who is that person they pass?
Is that supposed to be a person? Because it looks like a figure with a cloak on you, and you would see that and you'd be like, who?
They just go past it, never to be brought up again. Huh. Weird, right?
It's appropriate for the Forest of Weir.
That was really weird.
And is this where he talks about the different people they have to collect?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's right.
I wrote down
a roster.
I wrote down Hawk the Profiler because it's just like race location.
Yes.
Yep. He's a giant from the mountains.
We need a giant from the mountains. We need a elf from the
forest.
From the green forest, and we need a
dwarf from the Iron Hills.
Yeah. And by the way, those of you that love D&D, when you meet these characters, you will be very unhappy and very underwhelmed. Yep.
Oh, I can't
You're like,
wait.
oh, well, that's just a big tall guy, and that's just a kind of a little short guy. That's not even.
We never get to see any of the mountains at the edge of the world. We never get to see the Iron Hills because
they are no more.
Balden says, the Iron Hills are no more. Crow coming from the Silver Forest, that's now burnt and blackened.
Crow.
There's a whole thing where these fantasy races seem to be diminishing as the kingdoms of men flourish. It's very Lord of the Rings.
The next episode is going to have so much Hexposition, it's going to make your head spin.
Absolutely.
Cannot wait.
So join us, because next time, with the power of glowing rings and mystical noises, Hawk fast travels to assemble his party of adventurers. Gort, the taller than average man. Crow, a Star Trek extra with the power of jump cuts. And Balden, the comic relief. His Avengers assembled, Hawk leads his party of D&D tropes back to the Abbey at Caddenbury, where he must prepare for the ultimate showdown with Voltan.
Who? Me?
Are you talking about me and my son, Adrugo? It's a family name. Before you ask. So yeah, we're 2 in. Robin, what do you think so far?
Oh, this is a garbage
and
movie,
Rick.
but boy, I'm enjoying talking about it with you guys.
It's an absolute dumpster fire. Yet it is bright and it is warm.
It's
Right?
compelling, right? On some level, it's got something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. It's not literally bright. Like you still can't see anything. But
It's vague and cloudy. All right, well then I guess we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Woohoo!
No, not woohoo. Woo,
Oh, sorry.
woo.
Woo, 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 woo.
Clang, clang. Clang, clang.